Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the University of Manchester and to the splendid surroundings of the Whitworth Hall for this graduation ceremony. In particular, of course, I'd like to welcome our graduands, whose achievements and hard work we are here to celebrate today. But I would also like to welcome the family and friends of our graduands, many of whom have traveled long distances to be here. We welcome you to the university and also thank you for the help, support, and encouragement that you've given to our students over their time here. Those of you who are graduating today have given yourselves a real competitive edge by completing your degree at the University of Manchester. You chose to make an investment in your future when you decided some time ago to follow a degree course at UMIST or the Victoria University of Manchester, and today that investment is realized. Your achievement in completing your degree cannot be underestimated, and you and your families and friends should feel justly proud of your accomplishment. All of you started your careers in the university by joining one of our predecessor institutions. This time last year, we celebrated the graduation of the first graduates of the combined university. A huge amount has been achieved since the merger date of the 1st of October 2004, and the pace of change continues to be both exhilarating and challenging. This university now represents the best of both worlds. First of all, we are new, and like all new institutions, that leaves us free to be innovative and creative. But the university has also inherited a fine legacy of scholarly achievement, research performance and educational excellence from its distinguished predecessors. We have a rich heritage of cutting-edge innovation and enterprise stretching back more than 175 years. This impressive combination of freedom and a great history is uniquely empowering. Building upon this rich history, Manchester is already one of the finest universities in Europe. But we are now perfectly positioned to become one of the best in the world. Our ambitious plan, dubbed the Manchester 2015 Agenda, is to lift Manchester into the very first rank in higher learning. At the core of this vision is a commitment to the highest standards in research and scholarship. Some of the statistics are now quite striking. In terms of applications for its undergraduate courses, Manchester is now the most popular university in the UK. We've received almost 62,000 applications for our undergraduate courses starting in September of this year, according, that is, to statistics from the university's Central Admissions Service. You will all remember UCAS with affection, I'm sure. That figure, covering home and overseas applications, confirms this university as the country's top destination for would-be students. And those numbers are all the more pleasing given the students' concerns over the increase in student tuition fees that will apply from September. Our commitment to innovation and inspirational teaching is intensified as we explore the new opportunities for educational delivery presented by developments in the area known as e-learning. In addition, this year, the University of Manchester and the Open University agreed a new partnership to develop and offer combined degree programs focused initially on overseas student markets. This partnership of the UK's two largest universities to access each other's curricula and to draw upon their complementary strengths is serving both part-time, or will serve both part-time and full-time students. The stature of the university continues to grow in other ways also. We are placed at or close to the top of the list of universities receiving research funds from both government research councils and the charitable foundations. There is now a routine reference in the press and elsewhere to the Big Five UK universities, meaning Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, University College London, and Manchester. The Golden Triangle, as it used to be called, of Oxford, Cambridge, and London, has now been replaced by the Golden Diamond. In 2005, the University of Manchester was designated University of the Year in the inaugural awards made by the Times Higher Education Supplement That's essentially the national newspaper of the higher education sector. A rich indication, I think, from our peers of the amount that's been achieved so far. An award of quite a different kind was also achieved recently when a team from Manchester won, for the first time in these universities' histories, the University Challenge title on television. The Manchester team beat Trinity Hall, Cambridge, in one of the most nail-biting finishes of all time, I think, with a final score of 160 points to 150. The commitment of the University of Manchester to the highest standards in teaching and research is apparent, I think, from the unprecedented capital building program that is presently underway. You cannot have failed to notice as you arrived the number of tall cranes that now populate the campus, and indeed the Whitworth Hall, apart from its other virtues, is one of the few places on campus where I think we can be sure of avoiding construction noise. I hope so, at least. We recently opened the £35 million Manchester Interdisciplinary Biocentre, a venture that brings physical and life scientists together with engineers and those of other disciplines to address the most pressing problems in biology and medicine. The university's £25 million core technology facility was also opened just recently by Lord Sainsbury, the Science Minister. And in these laboratories, researchers are looking at techniques of tissue engineering with a view to the eventual objective of growing organs for transplant into patients that require them for example, suffering from heart disease or diabetes. This new facility will also encourage commercial exploitation of these university activities by providing integrated space in which young businesses and university researchers can work alongside each other. As a graduate of the University of Manchester, you're joining a very distinguished Hall of Fame. No fewer than 22 of our former staff and students have gone on to become Nobel Prize winners. This year we recruited another Nobel laureate, the economist Professor Joseph Stiglitz, to chair the Brooks World Poverty Institute, which was recently endowed by one of our own alumni. And this institute will become a global center of excellence for research into poverty and means for its reduction. In addition to the distinguished contributions in the sciences and engineering made by our graduates, we can also find graduates of this university in top positions in business, government, politics, sport, and the arts. Your job prospects, having studied here at the University of Manchester, will be second to none, because employers all around the globe recognize the value of the piece of paper you will soon be holding in your hand. So graduates can be justifiably proud of their achievement. I'm pleased to report that despite the recent industrial action that you may have read about in the press, the university did not cancel any examinations and maintained the scholarly integrity both of the examination process and the value of the degree which you receive from the University of Manchester. Well, the purpose of all this boasting, of course, is to convince you, in the unlikely event you still need convincing, that you graduate today from one of the finest universities in Europe. At the end of the ceremony, you will join a community of more than 200,000 UMIST and University of Manchester graduates living and working across the globe. The Alumni Association allows you to continue your relationship with the university and with your current friends, and to interact and network with many other alumni connected with the university at a personal and professional level. Please do take advantage of this by leaving your current email address on the note you've received already regarding our new global online alumni network, Your Manchester Online. As a member of the alumni, you will also receive a free annual magazine and be invited to social nights, reunions, and business networking events. Find out more about the Alumni Association by visiting their stand in the Concourse Cafe and chatting to some of the students. So the message is, please don't make today the last day of your contact with the university. Keep the alumni office informed regularly of your changes of address, and remember that you're always welcome to visit the university. And so finally, on behalf of the university, I congratulate you all, those of you graduating today, on your excellent academic achievement, and I wish you every success for the future.
Vice President. On behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, James Matthew Woodall. Robert John Aswani. Khaled Abdallah Edris. Tamsin Louisa Edwards. Siu Pui Lee. Stuart Richard Lowe. Asim Kumar Malik. Esmail Namvar. Lee Keith Patterson. Magdalena Todorovich. Thomas David York. And for the degree of Master of Philosophy, Niels Strohmeyer. And for the degree of Master of Science, Nassim Fatemi Gomi. And for the degree of Master of Mathematics and Physics with honours, Alan Paul Beck. Catherine Louise Finn. Christopher Green. Timothy Christopher Johnson. Katie O'Brien. Matthew Ian Shelley. Gemma Kirsty Williams. And for the degree of Master of Physics with honours, Michael Richard Ashford. Richard William Blackledge. Mark Philip Briscombe. Stuart Carlyle. Christopher Stephen Cartwright. Paul John Cass. Lok K. Chan. Tirapab Chantavat. Cecilia Yiman Choi. Catherine Elizabeth Cole. Jennifer Louise Cox. Joseph Anthony Dare. Samuel Charles Pope Davies. Simon Mansell Davis. Joseph Dewhurst. Sam Dewhurst. Graham Dinsdale. Conrad Matthew Dorling. James David Elliott. Alexander Fryer. Roger Graham Goldsborough. James Robert Harrison. Jack Patrick Stevenson Hill. John Robert Holden. Jonathan David Hughes. Neil Gerard Hughes. Martin Irwin. Graham Jackson. Christopher Neil James. James Anthony Keenan. Anna Kennedy. Stephen Kershaw. Kshitij Kumar. Jenna Louise Lane. Philip Law. Peter James Raymond Mason. Hannah Jeanette Moore. Rachel Elizabeth Norris. Christopher David Owen. Edward John Eric Parr. Stephen Ford Rablan. Jonathan Andrew Reichert. Neil Hamilton Robinson. Daniel Thomas Smalley. Samuel Prescott Smith. Ben Spencer. Peter David Straker. Zoe Abigail Stribling. Karen Louise Sires. Gareth Rees Thomas. Jacob Charles Thompson. James Robert Alexander Uprichard. Jenny Webster. John Dixon Young. Alexander John Brown. Richard David Canetti. Samuel John Daly. Michael Edward Bennett. Richard Craig Berry. Ben Blackwell. Paul Stephen Burgess. Catherine Selina Casson. Sin Hang Chu. Michelle Louise Miller Collins. Damien Cully. Paul James Davies. Matthew Dennison. James William Leslie Eccles. Charlotte Hannah Feldman. Helen Greatrix. Roger Malcolm Griffith. Richard James Hampson. James Peter Hughes. Sheila Kanani. Faisal Khan. Andrew James Latham. Julia Catherine Martindale. Amanda Claire Maycock. Julian William Mackenzie. Joanna Moles. James Milroy Smith. Michael Peel. James Henry Tutt. Emma Suzanne Walker. Neil Charles Robertson Ward. Philip Stewart. Natasha Elizabeth Fox. Amy Louise Freund. Kirsty Elizabeth Leake. James George Jackson. Jack Dennis O'Sullivan. And for the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, Christopher James Butler. Christopher John Carricker. Edward Clare. James Christopher Dabrowski. Paul Donnelly. Nicholas Dover. Jamie Robert Druitt. Thomas George Dudman. Jamie Elliott. Matthew James Farmer. Isabel Falkin. Kate Victoria Gray. Colin Michael Hardman. Jonathan Andrew Hart. Chung Ting Ho. Jeffrey Allen Holliday. Stephen Allen Holmes. Bidan Huang. Elizabeth Hume. Richard Anthony Husk. Priton Kagram. Alexander Stephen Knight Percival. Xiang Li. Stephen Patrick Lynch. Christopher Anthony Macklin. Catherine Frances Mann. Nicola Jane McGillivray. Elizabeth Rose Morris. Christopher James O'Brien. David John O'Brien. Jonathan Russell Parr. Jainaben Harishbhai Patel. Charlie Peter Pilgrim. Jennifer Louise Sanders. Claire Marie Shuring. Simon Dominik Siemianowski. Darren Smith. Mark Edward Smith. Richard David Steele. Joseph Ross Tallett. Kevin Kin Cheong Tang. Owen Murray Taylor. Christopher Thompson. Anand Varun. Andrew Mark Winstanley. Ying Zhu. Alicia Sinara Bennett. Andrew Stephen Chalcroft. John James Cherry. Richard John Crossan. Chris Milikouris. Mina Panahi. Ratnaroshini Puchua. Marissa Camilla Ann Saldana. Alastair David Sewell. David William Strawhall. Matthew Townley. Stephen Vaughan. Rachel Wood. Sinan Farhan. Wakas Gafoor. Ermias Kabedi. Thomas Michael Lynch. Lindsay Catherine Scott Rolfe. Patrick Joseph Littlewood. Matthew Rowe. Thomas Bernard Bailey. John Darcy McNeil. Benjamin James Calsill. Andrew Mark Hubbard. Abdul Baki Naeem. David Michael Pickard. Jordan West. Ben David Papandreou. Louise Margaret Prideaux. Jonathan Philip Bryden. Adam Burns. Matthew Espley. Adrian Juen Hu Chu. Thomas Clinton. Seng Fong Elias Esteval Lug. Leona Wing Yi So. Simon Peter Whittle. Michael Davies. Christian John Young. And for the degree of Bachelor of Science, Akihiko Kariya.
Today we've celebrated the award of your degrees. Congratulations to all of you. On behalf of the University of Manchester, may I extend to you our best wishes for your future, and I now declare the ceremony closed. Would you please rise?